Understanding Psychological Manipulation in Modern Relationships. 6 warning signs you need to recognize. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into a topic that makes many people uncomfortable, but it's absolutely crucial to discuss: the subtle ways manipulation can creep into romantic relationships. While we often focus on obvious red flags, there are sophisticated psychological tactics that can leave you questioning your own reality. Let's explore 6 patterns that you should be aware of, regardless of who's using them. Pattern 1. The strategic withdrawal of communication. Picture this scenario. Everything seems perfectly normal in your relationship. You're having regular conversations, sharing laughs, making plans together. Then suddenly, without warning or explanation, all communication stops. No angry words, no dramatic confrontation, just complete radio silence. This isn't just someone needing space or having a bad day. This is a calculated move designed to trigger your anxiety response. When someone abruptly cuts off communication, your brain immediately goes into overdrive, desperately trying to figure out what went wrong. You'll find yourself replaying every recent interaction, analyzing every word you said, searching for the mistake you must have made. The psychological impact is devastating. You start sending apologetic messages for things you're not even sure you did. You offer to make changes, promise to be better, all while the other person maintains their silence, watching your distress unfold. This creates a power imbalance where you're constantly walking on eggshells, afraid that any misstep might result in another period of isolation. The real danger here is how this conditions your behavior over time. You become hyper-vigilant about their moods, constantly adjusting your actions to prevent another silent treatment episode. You lose your authentic self in the process of trying to be whatever you think they want you to be. Pattern 2. The perfect match illusion. Have you ever met someone who seemed almost too perfect for you? They love all the same movies, share your obscure interests, laugh at all your jokes, and even use similar phrases and expressions. At first, it feels like you've found your soulmate, someone who truly gets you on every level. But here's where it gets interesting. This level of compatibility doesn't usually happen naturally. What you might be experiencing is sophisticated mirroring, where someone carefully observes your preferences, mannerisms, and speech patterns, then adopts them as their own. They become a reflection of what they think you want to see. This technique is particularly effective because it bypasses your natural defenses. When someone appears to share your values and interests so completely, you're more likely to open up quickly, share personal information, and develop deep emotional attachment. You feel understood and accepted in a way that might be rare in your life. The problem emerges later in the relationship. Once they feel secure in their hold over you, the mask begins to slip. Suddenly, they don't seem as interested in your favorite activities. They stop laughing at your humor the same way. Their personality shifts, and you're left wondering if you ever really knew them at all. This isn't about normal relationship evolution, where people become more comfortable and show different sides of themselves. This is about deliberate deception, designed to create artificial intimacy and emotional dependency. Pattern 3. The responsibility trap. Society often teaches us that we should be caring, considerate partners who want to see our loved ones happy. This natural desire to nurture and protect becomes a weapon in the wrong hands. Some people exploit this caring nature by making you feel responsible for their emotional state at all times. Here's how it typically unfolds. You notice something concerning in their behavior. Maybe they're being secretive with their phone, staying out unusually late, or their stories don't quite add up. When you bring up your concerns in a calm, reasonable way, instead of addressing the actual issue, they immediately shift the focus to your character. Suddenly, you're not someone with legitimate concerns. You're insecure, controlling, paranoid, or untrusting. They might bring up your past mistakes, question your motives, or even break down crying about how your accusations are hurting them. Before you know it, you're comforting them and apologizing for having concerns in the first place. This is a masterful manipulation because it weaponizes your empathy against you. Your natural instinct to comfort someone in distress overrides your ability to think critically about the situation. You end up feeling guilty for having perfectly reasonable boundaries or questions. Over time, this pattern trains you to suppress your instincts and avoid bringing up anything that might upset them. You learn to ignore red flags, dismiss your gut feelings, and prioritize their comfort over your own well-being and peace of mind. Pattern 4. The emotional roller coaster strategy. Consistency is the foundation of healthy relationships. When someone cares about you, their interest and affection remain relatively stable over time. Sure, everyone has off days, but genuine care doesn't vanish and reappear based on mysterious circumstances. The hot and cold pattern is entirely different. One day you're receiving constant attention, sweet messages, physical affection, enthusiastic plans for the future. You feel valued, desired, and secure in the relationship. Then, without explanation, everything changes. The warmth disappears, conversations become brief and cold, and you're left wondering what you did wrong. This creates what psychologists call an intermittent reinforcement schedule, which is incredibly powerful for creating addiction-like behaviors. Just like a slot machine that pays out unpredictably, the random nature of their attention makes you crave it even more intensely when it's withdrawn. During the cold phases, you find yourself doing increasingly desperate things to win back their warmth. You might buy expensive gifts, plan elaborate surprises, or constantly text trying to reconnect. You analyze every interaction, wondering what magical combination of words or actions will bring back the person you fell for. The cruel irony is that your increasingly desperate behavior often pushes them further away, which only reinforces the dynamic. You look needy and unstable, while they appear calm and in control. This power imbalance becomes the foundation of the relationship, with you constantly chasing and them deciding when to reward your efforts. Pattern 5. The indirect demand system. Clear, direct communication is a hallmark of healthy relationships. When someone needs something, they ask for it openly, allowing you to make an informed decision about whether you can or want to provide it. This respects your autonomy and creates opportunities for genuine generosity. The hint system operates on the opposite principle. Instead of direct requests, you're subjected to a constant stream of innocent observations and stories. They might mention how a friend's partner surprised them with jewelry, share social media posts about expensive restaurants, or tell elaborate stories about romantic gestures they've heard about. These aren't casual conversations. They're strategic communications designed to plant ideas in your mind. The expectation is that you'll pick up on these hints and spontaneously provide whatever they're suggesting, allowing them to receive what they want while maintaining the illusion that it was entirely your idea. This system is problematic for several reasons. First, it puts you in the position of constantly trying to decode their true desires, which is exhausting and often leads to misunderstandings. Second, it makes genuine generosity nearly impossible because you're always responding to pressure rather than acting from your own desire to give. Most importantly, it creates a system where you can never quite do enough. If you miss a hint or don't respond as expected, you're portrayed as inattentive or uncaring. If you do respond, the bar simply moves higher and the hints become more frequent and elaborate. Pattern 6. The emotional manipulation masterclass. Perhaps the most dangerous pattern is the one that starts with overwhelming positivity. In the beginning, you're showered with an intensity of affection that feels almost too good to be true. Within days or weeks, you're hearing declarations of love, promises of a future together, and constant reassurance that you're the most amazing person they've ever met. This isn't the natural progression of genuine feelings. It's a calculated strategy designed to create rapid emotional dependency. By moving the relationship forward at breakneck speed, they bypass your natural caution and critical thinking. You become emotionally invested before you've had time to really get to know them or assess compatibility. The intensity is intoxicating. You feel chosen, special, almost addicted to the constant validation and attention. Your brain releases powerful bonding chemicals in response to this overwhelming positive reinforcement, creating genuine biochemical attachment. Then comes the withdrawal. Just as suddenly as the intensity began, it stops. The constant messages dwindle to occasional responses. The declarations of love become rare. The future plans are put on hold indefinitely. You're left confused, desperate, and willing to do almost anything to get back to that initial high. This creates a trauma bond, a powerful psychological connection that forms through cycles of intensity followed by abandonment. You become convinced that if you could just be better, more attractive, more understanding, you could win back that incredible initial experience. Protecting yourself. Building emotional intelligence. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward protecting yourself, but awareness alone isn't enough. You need to develop the emotional intelligence and self-respect necessary to respond appropriately when you encounter these behaviors. First, trust your instincts. If something feels off in your relationship, don't ignore that feeling or let someone convince you that you're being paranoid. Your intuition has evolved over millions of years to help you recognize threats, including psychological ones. Second, maintain your independence and individual identity throughout any relationship. Healthy partnerships enhance your life without requiring you to fundamentally change who you are or abandon your own interests and friendships. Third, establish clear boundaries and stick to them. Decide what behaviors you will and won't accept, and be prepared to enforce those boundaries even if it means ending the relationship. Fourth, look for consistency over time. Anyone can be charming for a few weeks or months, but true character reveals itself through sustained behavior across different circumstances and moods. Finally, remember that healthy love grows gradually and feels secure rather than chaotic. If your relationship feels like an emotional roller coaster, that's not passion. It's instability, and it will ultimately damage your mental health and self-esteem. Moving forward, creating healthier relationship patterns. Understanding these manipulation tactics isn't about becoming cynical or suspicious of everyone you meet. It's about developing the discernment necessary to recognize when someone genuinely cares about your well-being versus when they're primarily focused on what they can get from you. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, clear communication, and genuine care for each other's happiness and growth. They involve two whole, independent people choosing to share their lives together, not one person trying to control or manipulate the other. If you recognize these patterns in your current relationship, it's important to address them directly. Sometimes people engage in these behaviors without fully realizing the impact they're having. A clear, honest conversation about your needs and boundaries might be enough to shift the dynamic. However, if someone continues these behaviors after you've addressed them, or if they refuse to acknowledge the problem entirely, you may need to seriously consider whether this relationship is healthy for you. No amount of love or attraction is worth sacrificing your mental health and self-respect. Remember, you deserve a relationship where you feel valued, respected, and secure. Don't settle for anything less, and don't let anyone convince you that psychological manipulation is just part of love. Real love feels safe, supportive, and empowering, not confusing, desperate, and draining. Final thoughts. These patterns exist across all types of relationships and aren't limited to any particular gender, age group, or demographic. Anyone can fall into manipulative behaviors, and anyone can become a target. The key is developing the awareness and self-respect necessary to recognize unhealthy dynamics and respond appropriately. Take time to reflect on your own relationship patterns. Are there ways you might be contributing to unhealthy dynamics? Are there areas where you need to set better boundaries or communicate more clearly about your needs? Building healthy relationships is a skill that requires ongoing attention and growth. By understanding these common manipulation tactics, you're better equipped to create the kind of loving, supportive partnerships that enhance your life rather than drain your energy and self-worth. What are your thoughts on these patterns? Have you encountered similar dynamics in your own relationships? Share your experiences and insights. Your story might help someone else recognize an unhealthy situation in their own life.